Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Let's jump into our cosmic weather for today, see what's going on out there in the world. Starting off at spaceweather.com, our solar wind is currently at 393.8 kilometers per second. We could see our protein density has dropped down from 4 to 2.4. We are looking at a planetary K index here of 2, however, with a bit of activity going up to a 4, possibly in the next 24 hours. You could see a few corona holes in here, so solar wind comes off of these things. And we do see that our M-class flare possibility has jumped up. So something has changed. It was down to, what, 20% the other day? Now we're up to 70% and 15% for our next class. So something has moved up there. We don't really see any geomagnetic storm activity at the moment, so let's take a further look and see what's going on. We had the one sunspot we were paying attention to. Now we've got, notice here, M-class flares. The magnetic canopy of big sunspot AR 1618 is crackling with M-class solar flares. This image taken by NASA Solar Dynamics Observatory shows the extreme ultraviolet flash from one of them. Alright, so this is another surge of energy. It's heading our way, so something we're going to have to be dealing with. Just to be aware of that. Alright, now we move along to our moon and sun phase, the astrology. So we're at a changing of the guard. We're at a changing of the guard in the sun sign, going from the Scorpio into the next one, which is Sagittarius. So we're right at that cusp as things are changing over. So Scorpio is the water. We're going from all of those emotions that we've been processing and dealing with for the last month, and we're getting ready to go and take them into the area of fire, Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is the truth bearer. Sagittarius is going to take all of those emotions and those feelings, and they're going to wrap them all up in some ideas and see how could we take these ideas and how could we look at them and really create something out of it now. So we want to, so it's the next phase of the processing, right? Because the emotions and the feelings, that's just kind of what they are. We bring things up from the depths over the course of the time with the Scorpio, and now Sagittarius fire. One thing with Sagittarius, you've got higher learning, expansion, because you've got the planet Jupiter's becoming involved. So things are now going to start to expand with the energies around us, and it's a different type of energy because we're going from water to fire, and we know those elements as being completely two different elements. So that's where we're moving towards, and that's what we're going to be working with over the course of the next month now. Fire as the conscious mind, our ideas. In the tarot cards, the card of the Sagittarius would be the tarot card of temperance, which is about learning how to balance one foot on the land, one on the water. It's also the Archangel Michael. So a couple different significances there. And then we go to our moon sign for today. Today we are at Pisces. Pisces is a water sign. So we have water on the unconscious mind. And the Pisces, the unique thing about the Pisces is the two fish swimming in opposite directions. And that's kind of the challenge of the Piscean energy, to try to pull that together. Otherwise, it's like going two different ways. You start to go one way, and then something gets your attention, and you go the other way. Because it's the emotions and the feelings, that's what's taking things back and forth. So the whole idea is to be able to kind of guide those feelings, put them together, and focus them so that we can really make use of them to move us forward. So the challenge today with the Piscean energy is to go ahead, as we're making that transition in the conscious mind and the conscious life, that underneath, to try to really pull all these emotions together, especially coming out of the phase of Scorpio where we've been dealing with emotions. So they're not just going to suddenly end as we go into the next sign. We've got to deal with them, pull them all together. They just now go from being in the conscious, they kind of fade out of mind because we're going to a new sign And unconscious, we have to take all those feelings that are there. We can't just leave them hanging. We got to wrap them all up and sort them all out. So that's what we're doing with the Piscean energy, pulling it down. And so I hope that makes sense to you. That's what's going on with the astrology as I see it. Our waxing moon means we're going from the new moon to the full moon. We're at 61% of the way there. And on the Mayan Oracle, we're at a 8-tone day. 8 tones, galactic tones. The Earth is the kin for today, so today is the galactic Earth, guided by the dragon, which is the symbol above it. We are still in the wave spell of the dog, which is the wave spell of love and loyalty, and we're at the galactic position, the 8th position. And the galactic tone is called integrity, so we're at the integrity of love and loyalty. All right, at this part of the phase. And the phrase for today is I harmonize in order to evolve, modeling synchronicity. I seal the matrix of navigation with the galactic tone of integrity. I am guided by the power of birth. You know, one thing, just to make mention with this system, you know, the symbols here are all universal symbols. And when you look at them, basic ideas, you see a hand, earth, wind, you get the basic ideas. Now, what you may think about a hand or the wind or these things might be different than what I think or what somebody else thinks. And that's okay. We all basically have the same concept in mind of what these things are. And that's what makes these systems so unique, that we can take and adapt to our own conscious and our way of understanding what these symbols mean, because they're universal symbols. And so even though some of what I'm saying might be somewhat general and vague, it's also very specific when you get into understanding more of the depths of connecting these energies. And that's what's kind of cool. There's always different ways you can connect them, the more you keep looking. And so it's pretty cool, pretty cool. All right, so there you have it. That's our Mayan Oracle for today and our cosmic weather. So the last couple days I've been playing this piece. I'm going to play the rest of this today, the Mayan explanation of 2012, because it's been pretty fascinating. Just to recap, talking about the CERN and the concern that using the project to be able to capture the energy of December 21st to be able to help them break through with their experiment, so to speak. But then he said they didn't count on the Mayan people because they have all gone about and they've been making these generators using nature and natural properties to be able to capture the energy. So even though there's the plan that's going on by the governments and the scientists to want to capture the energy, the Mayans have their own way as well. And so they've been planning this. And anyway, that's the gist of what he was saying. Let's continue on. Here we go.
Y alumbra a las personas.
And illuminate the people.
Funciona.
It works.
Hemos hecho muchos experimentos en México.
We've done so many experiments in Mexico.
Sí. Y todos muy positivos.
And everything is very positive.
¿Alguien tiene alguna pregunta?
Does anyone have any questions?
Hasta Guatemala.
She's asking.
Casi hasta, incluso casi hasta Honduras casi. Sí. Sí. De hecho, estamos ahorita tratando de... Quisiera yo dividirme en muchos.
So the question was about where the energy or the ray of vibration will reach, if it will come all the way to South America, and it will get maybe as far as Honduras, but the amplification of the process will be worldwide, and he's hoping that he can divide himself throughout the entire world to get this work done.
De hecho, venir aquí a Estados Unidos es como un descanso.
In fact, coming here to the United States is like a break for me.
El que trabaja es May y James.
The ones who work are James and Mai.
Sí, ellos se encargan de organizar todo.
They're ones who are in charge of organizing this.
Pero en México,
But in Mexico,
yo me encargo de todo el trabajo.
I am in charge of all of the work.
Sí, dormimos mientras viajamos.
We sleep while we're traveling.
Sí, y cuando llegamos empezamos a crear
And when we arrive, we just begin to create
conferencias,
conferences,
talleres,
workshops.
instalamos las pirámides,
We install the pyramids.
mandamos a hacer más geometrías.
We send out all the different
O sea,
geometries.
toda una serie de trabajo que hacemos.
This is all within all the work that we do.
Quien quiera ir a apoyarnos a México, bienvenidos.
Anyone who wants to come down and help us in Mexico, you're welcome.
Necesitamos manos para trabajar.
We need more help.
Sí. Bueno, ¿alguna otra pregunta?
Does anyone else have a question?
What happens after the change in consciousness?
¿Qué va a pasar después del cambio de conciencia?
Realmente vamos a tomar conciencia,
Really, we're going to take this consciousness?
pero es como cuando de repente te surge una idea.
But it's like suddenly having an idea.
Esa idea la tienes en tu mente un rato.
And this idea you have in your mind for a little while,
Si no la llevas a cabo,
if you don't bring it to fruit,
la idea empieza a pasar y pierde fuerza.
the idea loses its force and kind of
Sí.
falls away.
Así es la alineación y el despertar de conciencia.
So this works the same way with the alignment and the change in consciousness.
Dura como 8 minutos.
It's going to last 8 minutes.
La gente va a decir, wow, sí es cierto, vamos a vivir en paz.
And people are going to say, oh wow, it's true, we're going to live in peace.
Pero si no hacemos nada,
But if we don't do anything about it,
va a pasar así como que tuvimos una emoción nada más.
it'll feel like we just had an emotion, that's it.
Con estas pirámides que estamos creando,
With the pyramids that we are creating,
vamos a tratar de que dure como 3 meses más o menos.
we're going to hope that it allows the vibration to stay for at least 3 months.
Entonces podemos establecer una conciencia.
So we can establish the
La
consciousness.
gente puede establecer grupos sociales,
So people can have time to create social groups,
crear planes
create plans,
y empezar a establecer una nueva forma de vida.
and begin to create another way of living.
¿Sí? Ese es el despertar.
This is the awakening.
Tenemos.
¿Y aconsejas algún tipo de preparación para ese momento a nivel de para estar preparados más? En ese momento estar más como meditando o haciendo.
So the question was, how can we prepare ourselves for that moment?
Sí, tengan un lápiz y bolígrafo a mano. Un papel y lápiz a mano.
His suggestion is to have a pen and paper ready,
Porque se le van a ocurrir muchas ideas.
because many ideas will occur to you.
Escríbanlas todas.
So write them all down.
¿Sí? Para que después digan, podemos hacer esto y se van a formar muchas.
So later on you can figure out which ones are helpful
Muchas
and use them.
técnicas.
And we can figure out all the
Todos
effective
ustedes ya
techniques.
están preparados
So really we're all prepared,
porque ya están trabajando cristales,
because we're already working with crystals
sanación,
and healing,
curaciones,
cures.
ya están dentro del momento.
We are within the moment.
¿Sí? Nada más necesitamos ese impulso que vamos a tener.
We just need this impulse.
¿Sí? Sigan haciendo lo que hacen.
Continue doing what you're doing.
No tienen que cambiar.
You don't have to change.
Sigan haciendo, meditando,
You can continue
cantando,
meditating, singing,
no sé, lo que ustedes sepan hacer.
whatever you know how to do.
Todas las religiones,
All the religions,
todas las filosofías
all the
han
philosophies
llevado al ser humano a prepararse.
have all come to help us prepare ourselves.
No hay ninguna mejor que otra.
There's nothing better than anything else.
Cada una ha preparado a la gente de acuerdo a su conocimiento.
Everything has prepared us for this knowledge.
Además es mejor tener mucho conocimiento.
The best is just to have more knowledge.
Así si no funciona el mío,
So if mine doesn't work,
funciona el de ustedes.
maybe yours will.
Sí. Y así, en algún momento vamos a lograr esa unidad.
And so within a moment we will achieve that unity.
Pero unidad no significa que todos hagamos lo mismo,
But unity does not mean that we all do the same thing.
sino que todos aprendamos a convivir aun cuando seamos diferentes.
It means that we learn how to coexist with all of us doing our own ways. She was wondering, what time is the 8 minutes going to happen?
Between the 21st and 23rd, or is it on the 21st?
Well, she's wondering, like, what time, like, what, yeah. She's Googling it, don't worry. I'm just kidding.
Les voy a pasar el teléfono.
I'm going to pass around my
para que
phone
vean, la pirámide.
so you can see the pyramid. La respuesta a su pregunta, ¿a qué hora?
¿Ah?
¿A qué hora va a pasar los 8 minutos?
¿A qué hora va a pasar los 8 minutos? La alineación empieza como el 21 al mediodía
So it's about midday on the 21st is when the alignment begins,
y termina el 23
and it ends the 23rd
al mediodía.
in the middle of the day.
Busca el punto medio,
So if you look in the center of that time,
es donde te va a dar el pico más alto de la alineación.
that'll be the highest peak of the
Es cuando se da la
alignment.
alineación completa.
That was when the complete alignment will take
Y como es
place.
a nivel cósmico,
And on this cosmic
esa
level,
alineación solamente dura como 8 minutos.
this alignment only lasts 8 minutes.
Es como la luna llena.
It's like the full moon.
La luna llena dura 3 días.
The full moon lasts 3 days.
¿Sí? En esos 3 días,
In those 3 days,
la luna llena dura 8 minutos nada más, así completita.
the actual full moon only lasts about 8 minutes.
Y ya luego se va perdiendo gradualmente.
And then it gradually is losing its alignment.
Nosotros solamente observamos luna llena 3 días,
But we see the full moon for 3 days long.
pero en realidad solo dura 8 minutos la luna llena.
But the reality is it's only about 8 minutes that it's completely full.
¿Sí?
The lady over there mentioned that there was going to be 3 days of darkness. Is that true?
Alguien mencionó que va a pasar 3 días en oscuridad. ¿Sí va a pasar?
Sí.
Yes.
Como hay una alineación planetaria,
Because of this planetary alignment,
¿sí? En el primer día,
in the first day
¿sí? Tenemos, en esta alineación se antepone la luna.
is when the moon
Tenemos
aligns.
tenemos un eclipse solar.
And we'll have a solar eclipse.
Al día siguiente
On the second day,
tenemos otro eclipse que es de Venus,
we'll have another eclipse with Venus.
¿sí? Y luego al tercer día,
And on the third day,
en la mañana,
in the morning of the third day,
es cuando la noche se prolonga mucho.
is when the night will prolong
¿sí?
itself.
Entonces se forma como una especie como de eclipse también,
And
pero
so-
no es un eclipse en sí.
It'll be kind of like an eclipse, but it's not exactly the same thing.
O sea, son eclipses.
So they're like eclipses.
Los eclipses no generan nada en el cuerpo humano.
The eclipses don't generate anything in the human body.
Ya hemos pasado muchos eclipses.
We've lived through many eclipses.
¿Ha cambiado algo en su vida?
Has anything changed because
No,
of them?
sigues teniendo las mismas deudas.
You still have the same debts.
¿sí? Entonces, el eclipse para nosotros solo son marcadores.
The eclipses are just markers.
Es nuestro calendario.
This is our calendar.
El efecto electromagnético del Sol y del centro de la galaxia es lo que tomamos en cuenta.
What we're paying attention to is the electromagnetic impact of the center of the galaxy with the sun.
Los eclipses nada más nos dan como la fecha en la que va a suceder.
The eclipses just allow us to understand the dates at which that will happen.
So it's not going to be like total darkness.
Entonces no es oscuridad completa.
No. O sea, así como la noche, no.
It won't be like nighttime.
No es como la noche. Es un eclipse.
It's an eclipse.
Time in between.
Es como un atardecer.
It's more like a sunset.
No, so like, but not consistently for 3 days.
Pero no es como continuoso, que todos los 3 días están
Sí,
bajo luz.
Acá se habla de que va a haber, muchos dicen que va a haber 3 días de oscuridad, o 3 días que no vas a ver, va a ser como que 3 días.
Lo que pasa es que en esta alineación se afecta mucho la electricidad.
So what's happening with the alignment is that will affect our electricity.
No sé si en alguna ocasión han estado ustedes en el bosque en un atardecer.
I don't know if you've ever been in the forest at sunset.
Es casi muy oscuro.
It's almost so dark.
En realidad, pues los días de oscuridad no son algo así que tú le tengas que tener miedo. No va a generar nada en tu cuerpo.
So it's not something that we need to be afraid of, this darkness. It's not anything that will cause a change in our bodies.
Quien ha vivido un eclipse total sabe que se ve como un atardecer, pero no es totalmente oscuro.
Anyone who's lived through a total eclipse knows that it's like a sunset and that's it.
Nada más que mucha gente le ha dado así como mucho amarillismo, no sé cómo como mucho...
It's just become very
Sí.
sensationalized.
De hecho, yo voy a sacar una lámpara especial para ese día.
I'm actually going to develop a special lamp for those days. And shampoo.
Is our electric grid going to be affected?
Nos va a afectar en la electricidad, el sistema de electricidad.
Sí, de hecho, desde ahora hay muchos problemas con la electricidad.
Even, in fact, right now we're experiencing so many
Pero
problems with our
cada día van
electrical
a ser más
systems.
intensas.
But it is going to be more intense.
During the lower, many people are saying that ascension is going to happen on December 21st.
Hay mucha gente como Drúndulo que están hablando sobre la ascensión que va a pasar el 21 de diciembre.
Pues es lo que acabamos de hablar de la vibración que vamos a tener.
That was what we were just discussing about all the vibration and the awakening of consciousness.
Es lo mismo.
It's the same.
Ascender es tomar conciencia.
To ascend is to take consciousness, to become conscious.
Solamente recuerden que lo que nosotros pensamos tenemos que llevarlo a cabo físicamente.
So we just have to remember that everything that we think, we have to act on and make it happen.
Porque de nada sirve que todos nosotros digamos, ya estamos en una dimensión diferente.
And so just remember that even if that it wouldn't do anything if we all sat here and said, wow, we're in a different dimension.
O si todavía necesitas dinero, significa que sigues en la misma dimensión.
But if you continue needing money, then you're in the same dimension as you always were.
Si subimos de dimensión, tenemos que cambiar de forma de vivir.
If we arrive to a higher dimension, then that means everything will change. It has to mean that
La
we change.
última pregunta. Muy bien, pues muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Bendigan a todos los que se encuentran. Y para concluir,
And to conclude,
dense un buen abrazo.
give each other nice hugs.
Pero cuando se abracen,
But when you hug each other,
las palmas de las manos
keep your palms of your hands,
abracen a la espalda,
let them hug the back
que sientan la vibración y la energía de la otra persona.
so you can feel the vibration of the other person.
¿Sí? Para que el abrazo sea de donde sea, pero que se sienta la energía de la
Just feel
persona.
the vibration of the person you're hugging.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. Let's get right to it. I've got 6 stories here. First story comes to us from Mexico City, the 18th. We got the diamond shape, it looks like here. And first, I would like to say this UFO is often seen, correct. It's called the diamond orb, which actually spins at incredible speeds, making photographing it difficult. However, it looks slowed down like a spinning to give the photographer a few shots. Okay, let's take a look at this. Photograph and the video were taken with a Canon PowerShot south of Mexico City. So, we've all seen this one many, many, many a times. Alright. So that's number 1. Nothing overly exciting about that. Moving on. We go over to Chicago, Illinois on the 19th. This was a strange, bright, unidentified flying object recorded flying across the sky of Chicago, filmed Monday the 19th. That would be 2 days ago. So here we go. Let's see what we got here. Aha. It is a light. It doesn't seem to be moving or having the blinking lights of a plane that we are familiar with. Here's the close-up of it, and that doesn't really look like a plane or a helicopter. Perhaps one of these round spinning orbs like the last one. Alright, the link's available so you can check it out, see what you think. Next we have over Fresno, California on the 20th. This craft was heading northwest from southeast about 5,000 feet, appeared to have no sound. Alright, so there you go. Okay, get a little bit of night vision in there and a little different look at it. Here's the blown up version right there. Okay, pretty fascinating over Fresno, California. And then we go back over to our volcano in Mexico. This time we have 2 UFOs flying over. Let's hear what he has to say.
Despertó cubierto de blanco y con una serie de exhalaciones que lo hicieron ver espectacular como una gran postal de octubre. El volcán registró en total 35 exhalaciones de baja y mediana intensidad, pero vistosas, miren. Esto fue esta mañana, ahora esto es el volcán esta noche. El semáforo de alerta volcánico permanece en amarillo fase 3, es decir, sin movimiento. Bien, vamos a ver el video. Repito, tengo muchísimos tweets que me dicen que qué son esas luces. Ya hice unas consultas ahora y me dicen pilotos, mira, ahí va uno arriba. De izquierda a derecha, y va a pasar otra abajo, justo en donde inicia el cráter. De izquierda, ahí va. La explicación que me dieron es que es un avión, el de arriba, y el de abajo podría ser un helicóptero. Pero eso es lo que me han dicho hace un momento. Vamos a ver cómo está el Popo ahora, en vivo. Este es el Popo en ese momento, o sea, no hay ninguna luz que lo cruce. Pero de todos modos, voy a tratar de que algún experto, lo que tengo es la opinión de dos pilotos, que son expertos en aviación, pero me dicen que justo esa es una de las rutas, y por la velocidad y todo, calculan que es un avión. Bueno.
Okay, now moving right along from Mexico, or from the volcano, we're going to go over to the Strait of Magellan in Chile. We had one in Chile the other day. This is UFOs seen over Chile near Strait of Magellan. Many people in the city of Punta Arenas were treated to some spectacular glowing objects over the weekend. These objects were seen on the ocean side of the city, which is along the edge of the Strait of Magellan. If you speak Spanish, please tell us more about what they said in the comments below. Here we go.
Ya, pues vamos a ver durante la tarde si es que llegan a algún acuerdo, por lo menos si hay alguna negociación que pueda resolver este conflicto. Gracias, Marcelo.
Buenas tardes.
Nos vamos al extremo sur del país porque los habitantes de Punta Arenas están alarmados. Hay un grupo de ellos que asegura haber visto elementos extraños con luces en el cielo y creen que podrían ser ovnis.
Primero pensé que era unas luces cualquiera de la antena, pero después cuando vi que se empezaban a mover, me llamó la atención.
Divisamos hacia el lado norte alrededor de 6 globos de fuego en el cielo.
3 luces en triángulo, de color anaranjado intenso.
Algo tan real, impresionante. O sea, todos los clientes acá del pub quedaron todos impresionados.
En Punta Arenas están impactados con esta aparición. Quien captó esta imagen es un camarógrafo de la zona. Alcanzó a grabar la última de las luces y no fue el único que las vio. Muchos puntarenenses apreciaron este fenómeno. Dicen que eran 4, muy brillantes en el cielo austral.
Después apareció un cuarto que vino del cerro, o sea, del estrecho, y se empezó a elevar.
Como que palpitaba, la luz palpitaba, así, se elevaron, y de ahí más o menos fueron a desaparecer a la altura del estrecho.
Quienes grabaron esta luz primero pensaron en las explicaciones lógicas.
Sí, lo veo. Mucha luz para hacer satélite.
Después comenzaron a dudar por lo irregular de su desplazamiento.
Tiene movimiento con órbita, ¿viste? A no ser que nos traiga la desconocida en los próximos minutos y se detenga o cambie de rumbo.
Claro.
Efectivamente, después de algunos minutos, desapareció.
Se está haciendo...
Se fue la luz.
Pero, ¿qué dicen los expertos?
El típico ovni.
La imagen fue analizada por este estudioso del fenómeno ovni. Raúl Núñez trabajó en España y es corresponsal de varias revistas de divulgación científica. Asegura que son necesarios más análisis, pero que algunos antecedentes son decidores.
Lo filmó un profesional de las cámaras. Eso es muy importante. Además hay más testigos. Se produce un destello, generalmente esta luz, incluso una deformación de la forma. Y hay que hacer un recuento del entorno, qué se vio esa noche, pasó algún satélite, hubo chatarra espacial.
Los puntarenenses están seguros que se trataba de un ovni. Alejandro conducía su taxi. Pese a que iba manejando, la luz fue tan sorprendente que captó su atención y se detuvo a mirar el fenómeno.
Sí, impresionado porque no... O sea, se vio con tanta claridad. Era tan intenso y era bonito la luz. Y eso habrá estado ahí más o menos estacionado unos 3 minutos.
Eran alrededor de 11:30, más o menos 11:15, pero no todos a la misma vez, ¿eh? Primero apareció uno, después 2, y así de manera consecutiva.
Esta luz que estamos...
Alright, so we're going to move along from here to the very last one. And this is, remember the mountain in France where they're having all of the sightings? Well, now we got France denies access to sacred mountain where aliens and UFOs plan to save humanity. Okay, so how do you think this is going to work? Okay, the beings have come to save humanity, and do you think a few security are going to stop them from that? Probably not. Let's see what it says here. Surrounded in legend for centuries, Bukark Mountain has become a focal point for many apocalypse believers, as rumors have circulated that the mountain contains portals into other worlds, or that extraterrestrials will return here on Judgment Day to take refuge at their base. Residents of the tiny southern French hamlet, population 200, are witness to a rising influx of doomsday believers, convinced it is the only place on earth that will survive Judgment Day. There are hundreds and potentially thousands of people, as we get closer to December 21st, waiting for the mountain to open so they can board spaceships to be saved from imminent destruction on the day of the apocalypse. Others believe that the end of the world is not imminent, but many people will perish in the dawn of the new age of enlightenment. To them, Bukark is their last hope of salvation. Further, rumors persist that the country's latest president, Francois Mitterrand, was transported by helicopter on to the peak, while the Nazis and later Israel's Mossad performed mysterious digs there. Now the nearby village is awash with New Agers who have boosted the local economy. Through their naked group climbs up to the peak have raised concerns as well as eyebrows. Among other oddities, some hikers have been spotted scaling the mountain carrying a ball with a golden ring strung together by a single thread. France recently dashed the hopes of those who had planned to take refuge in one of the few places on Earth safe from destruction. Local officials banned access to Pic de Bukark, a mountain in the southwest of France where many are waiting to board alien craft to unknown locations in the universe. Eric Friesland, the state's top representative in the area, said he was blocking access to the mountain for public safety reasons to avoid a rush of New Age fanatics, sightseers, and media crews. I see. But how is he so certain that there really isn't something important that people need to be there for? So you have this one guy. We'll see how that works out. I have a feeling he's not going to be able to stop too much. And anyway, we're 30 days away from December 21st. That's our UFO news for today. I'll be right back. Stay tuned.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth. People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid.
All right, continuing on. We got a lot more news. Okay, next up, this is Dr. Paul, and weighing in on the whole Gaza incident. Let's hear what he has to say. Always wise wisdom from Dr. Paul. Wise wisdom, is that? That's sort of redundant, right? Anyway, here we go.
As the death toll mounts in Gaza and as global outrage continues to dominate massive protests around the world, the leaders of the United States Congress and the Bush administration continue to back Israel's war on the besieged Gaza Strip.
Understand Israel's desire to protect itself.
But one voice on Capitol Hill has broken from the status quo. Republican Congressman Ron Paul recently called the onslaught in Gaza an atrocious massacre.
It's our money and our weapons, but I think we encouraged it. Certainly the president has said nothing to diminish it. Matter of fact, he justifies it on moral grounds. Oh, they have a right to this, without ever mentioning the tragedy of Gaza. You know, the real problems that are there. To me, I look at it like a concentration camp, and people are making homemade bombs, and like they're the aggressors.
Dr. Paul noted despite silence from the Obama camp, the U.S. is heavily involved in the ongoing assault on the 1.5 million Palestinians trapped in Gaza.
I think if we weren't in the Middle East, there'd be a much greater motivation for Israel to deal with all the people, and maybe the Arab League. Maybe they would be talking to the Arab League every single day to work out problems. But they don't do that. They don't have the motivation because they know we'll back them up. No matter what happens over there, Israel knows, and our government knows, Republican or Democrat, that we'll do whatever is necessary to bail out Israel.
Congressman Paul also said the best solution for the United States would be to end its special relationship with Israel, because so far Israel's influence in U.S. foreign policy has only pushed the United States further in debt and increased anti-American sentiments around the world.
Of course, I want a ceasefire before they start. I want to change the policy which would prevent these problems. Of course, a ceasefire. They both ought to quit. But neither side right now are really ready to talk and deal with the major problems. So being on the side of just saying, well, my position is I'm calling for a ceasefire, that means you're involved in directing people on what to do. If Israel has a problem they have to deal with it, I don't think it should be any of our business. It's just that it's our business, and we will be blamed because we support Israel blindly so. And we give them the money and we give them the weapons. That should be the contention that we approach here, and Congress should know about and the American people should know about. And then if I personally favor one side over the other side, it's really pretty academic, because politically I don't want to be involved. I want to say, well, I think the Palestinians had been ripped off, and therefore all the blame is on Israel. I've sort of stepped in a little bit more than I want to. I can have a personal opinion, but politically, my position is that America would be much better off if we just minded our own business. And, of course, I always tie this into the financial calamity that our foreign policy creates. We're spending way too much money, and that helped bring about this economic crisis.
Okay, so nothing new from Dr. Paul. He's consistent on what he believes, and if we were just listening to what he was saying, but we're in the times where these wars are going to continue to be pushed on, so these are things we need to be aware of, that it's out there, and it's good to know. We don't have to listen to the talking heads on the television who say go fight war. We don't have to listen to the politicians who want to go to war, because we hear that there are guys like Dr. Paul who aren't about war, and where there's one of him, there's more. So that's good. It's a good sign. Okay, continuing on, this is another little piece about Dr. Paul and plans with the Liberty Movement. He's not through with things. Listen up.
I got you on and I'm ranting here. I'm so excited because a few times in my life things have crystallized. And I know when I'm right. I know when I've done the historical research, and I know when the zeitgeist is there. And I have never, this is 10 times the electricity I've ever felt. Lou Rockwell, what do you say to what I've just laid out here? All I'm laying out is what our country was founded on. Can we rediscover the republic? Can it rise again? Will you help us get Ron Paul to lead this exploratory movement to really get aggressive?
Well, certainly, Alex, Ron Paul is the leader, as we saw in this, fantastic farewell to Congress speech, one of the great speeches of all of American history. He is the leader. He's going to continue to be the leader. I would say he's going to be a more effective leader now that he's out of electoral politics. He's got many wonderful things in store for us, plans that he can't disclose quite yet, but after the first of the year, when he's no longer in Congress, just wait for it. There's going to be great stuff ahead. But this principle of, I hate to quote Woodrow Wilson, he referred to it as self-determination.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. I am Matt Larson, and that was Lou Rockwell, who is very close to Ron Paul. He's been definitely very close to both campaigns. Lou Rockwell, I think, has a very good idea of what Ron Paul's about and what the whole Liberty Movement is about. So when he went on the Alex Jones show, I believe that was on the 15th of November this month. I haven't been watching or listening to Alex Jones as much lately. I kind of lost interest after Webster Tarpley started talking all this trash about Ron Paul and about how he's some leprechaun and just all this stupid stuff that really disinterested me in anything on Alex Jones. Now, don't get me wrong, I learned many things from Alex Jones, and in the past he's been very helpful. So I haven't just been viewing it as much, but I had a subscriber actually send me that video, and I think it's awesome. I honestly have no idea what it'll be, whether it's Ron Paul going and saying the things that we've wanted him to say, talking about 9/11 and all the other things a little bit more, exposing the fraud in government even more than he's done, and just being as blunt and as out there as possible. I don't know. That's why I'm coming out and I'm asking you guys, what do you think those plans will be on January 1st when Ron Paul is no longer a congressman from Texas? What will Ron Paul do for the liberty movement? Leave your answer in a text or video response down below. I ask that you guys please thumbs up this video and share it with friends and family. If you're new to my videos, make sure you click that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all the current political news. As always, I'm Matt Larson. Go Ron Paul. Peace.
All right, so good news. Good news for Ron Paul. See, he's not going away. He's not like Mitt Romney. He's the real deal. He has something to say, and just because the election didn't go the way that it was going to go, but we knew how it was going to go. You know, he hasn't walked away, disappeared. Okay, just to show you that states are fighting back, Texas prepares to nullify TSA, NDAA, and showdown of state liberty versus federal tyranny. So this is part of the standing up that's going on out there in the world, and it's going to continue. Dissatisfaction is spreading rapidly throughout the very divided nation in the wake of the November 6th elections, as citizens in nearly every state have begun petitioning the federal governments to leave the Union. The succession effort is being led by the independence-minded citizens of Texas, with more than 111,000 residents having signed an online petition requesting succession as of this writing. Lawmakers in Texas are set to respond to a growing wave of discontent with federal authority as they look set to consider a pair of bills that will set the state on a collision course with Washington. Let the nullification begin. According to the 10th Amendment Center, a national think tank that works to preserve and protect the principles of strictly limited government through information, education, and activism, the state legislature will consider a pair of bills aimed at protecting some basic civil liberties for citizens. Earlier this week, Representative David Simpson Longwood pre-filed a measure called the Texas Travel Freedom Act, which would make it a criminal act to intentionally touch the anus, breast, buttocks, or sexual organ of the other person, including touching through clothing without probable cause, in the process of allowing someone to access public transportation. In other words, the bill is aimed at ending pointless, embarrassing, and invasive pat-downs of travelers by the Federal Transportation Security Administration, among others. The measure also forbids removing a child under the age of 18 from the physical custody and control of a parent or guardian. So, very good. People are standing up. States are standing up. The state is standing up, and things are going on because people have spoken up. Remember, bad things happen when good people say and do nothing. Well, this is a time for good people to do stuff. And we get these ideas. We got to step up. We got to do something with them. Freedom isn't going to come just by being handed to us. We have to work for it. And the opportunity is available. The tipping point is here. We have to do something about it. But this video here, I've got the sound down on it because, well, this is a video that is a compilation of security cameras. And just wanted you to take a look at what's going on out there. These are just a random sampling. So if you're out and about in the world, wherever you go these days, someone is watching. Someone is paying attention. So as you're out and about, pay attention to the fact that someone is paying attention to what you're doing. But it's pretty amazing that we live in this kind of world. And it's good. We've set this up. We've set this up for ourselves to be able to capture this, to benefit us. And as long as it's benefiting us, that's great. Because web streams like this and cams are available all over for everyone to see. It's only when they become tools of government institutions that use this kind of stuff to infringe upon people's rights. That's the problem. But at the same time, you know, we have these cameras. We also enjoy the entertainment that comes from watching people. Everybody gets a chance to be a star, right? So, somebody's always watching. That's the important part to know. Somebody's always watching. All right, we've got Lord of the Rings volcano erupts in New Zealand. Mount Tongariro rumbled to life in a 5-minute burst that put aviation authorities on high alert. Look at that. Pretty amazing. A New Zealand volcano as a backdrop to the Lord of the Rings film erupts on Wednesday, spewing a column of ash 3 kilometers above the North Island, scientists said. Volcanologists said Mount Tongariro rumbled to life at 1:25 p.m. in a 5-minute burst that briefly closed roads, put aviation authorities on high alert, and sent nearby hikers scrambling for safety. It was completely unexpected. There were no warning signs beforehand, a spokeswoman for the official monitoring service, GNS, said. So there you go. Is that a sign of something? Is Frodo, did he just throw the ring in? Is that what's going on? Something's coming to life and is happening behind the scenes that we're unaware of. Okay. Remember how we're hearing the stories about the giant planet out there, and little by little they're preparing people of the planet to understand that there's something bigger out there, because we hear about the rogue planet, it dips in and out, and then it's out there, and then they don't see it, and then they see it again, and now it's so many light years away, and well, here's some more news. Scientists discover an exoplanet so massive they're not even sure it's a planet. Kappa and B could be super to Jupiter, or could be a brown dwarf. The exoplanet orbiting a nearby star is so big scientists aren't sure what to call it. You know you've found something new and interesting when scientists really don't know how to classify it. Using the Subaru telescope, an international team of astronomers has discovered a super Jupiter so massive that it seems they're not quite sure whether to call it a planet or a low-mass brown dwarf, located roughly 170 light years from Earth. The host star is roughly 2.5 times more massive than the Sun, and its planet is about 13 times larger than Jupiter, making this the highest mass star to ever host a directly imaged orbital companion, especially one of this size. So it's interesting in light of the whole story about Nibiru and brown dwarf that's out there, how we keep getting these stories that seem to confirm something that the ancients knew. So very fascinating. Okay, so 30 days away. 30 days from today is December 21st. I am already starting to see some of the conversation pick up by going into the forums. I'm noticing more people talking about it. I also noticed that there's some television programming that's coming on about December 21st. I do know that there's the Doomsday. That's what they're referring to it as. The countdown to Doomsday. Countdown to Doomsday, because that's what some are just seeing. I see this as a graduation clock, a time when we're leaving this cycle onto the next one. It's not a doomsday unless you choose to put yourself in that. And we've been talking about this for some time. So it's all about our consciousness and what's going on with it. That is really the most important part throughout this shift. So this is a piece here. It's 6 places to be in 2012. I don't know where you're going to be, but here's a couple of suggestions. No matter what you think about December 21st, whether you believe it's the end of time, a period of enlightenment, or just another day in the calendar, you can't pretend that you don't have at least some mild curiosity about the day. It might be the end of the world, and what better place to be than where the doomsday theory all began. No matter what you believe will or will not happen on December 21st, 2012, the day Mesoamerican astronomers pegged as the end of their 5,125-year long count calendar, one thing is certain: 2012 is an auspicious year to travel to the Mayan heartland. Though there is no evidence that the Maya foretold any specific earthly event or cataclysm, it is an important cycle ending, nevertheless, an excuse to celebrate and cleanse. It's also a reason to explore the Maya region. The most popular dates to travel to Mundo Maya, the common term for the region that includes southern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador, are the summer solstice, the autumnal equinox, and of course the winter solstice, when all the Mayans call 13 Baktun, or December 21st. There will be righteous celebrations, solemn fire ceremonies, and a curious excitement at all the minor and major Maya archaeological sites throughout the year. The biggest challenge is deciding where to begin. Here are top 5 Mayan hotspots to mark whatever it is that might happen on December 21st. All right, here's a couple of good ones. We have the Riviera Maya, Mexico. It says it's the ultimate party, and if you truly believe the world is going to end, you might go for broke. Hang out with your own personal archaeologist and Maya shaman and go to a party at the beach at the Rosewood, Maya Coba. And you've got Uxmal, Mexico. It's the gateway to the stunning archaeological site, the city of Merida, colonial jewel and a wonderful destination of its own right. And we got the Riviera Maya, Mexico. It's in Cancun. Then we got San Ignacio in Belize. The whole area revolves around the tranquil town of San Ignacio, where a small, diverse population clings to the hillsides and riverbanks. We've got a place in Guatemala, long-time escape for budget travelers and Spanish language students. Then Copan in Honduras. So it's going to be interesting to see where people are drawn to during the time December 21st. So, but we're all going to be where we need to be during this time. This is an important time, being in tune with the earth, because the earth is evolving. The earth will continue to evolve. The being that is foreign to the earth is the human being. So the human being needs to catch up with the earth and get in sync with the earth, which is the important part, because if the earth decides to shake everyone off, well, there's nothing anyone can do, right? So let's be prepared. And how do we prepare? Well, this is a really good article. For some reason, the page here is having trouble coming in, but it's how to be spiritually prepared. We've been talking about this. We do the meditations. We go over all of this. This is a good article. And it talks about this regard. It says 10 steps to spiritual preparedness. 1. Recognize there is a creator and the universe is not an accident. 2. Admit your ethical failures and ask for forgiveness. 3. Pursue a life of virtue. 4. Embrace humility. 5. Shift focus away from the material wealth. 6. Practice compassion for all living things and serve in the protection of life. 7. Disconnect from those distractions that pollute your mind, TV, alcohol, psychiatric drugs, and addictions. 8. Eat for spiritual clarity. Consume foods from Mother Nature, not synthetic laboratories. 9. Spend more time in nature and embrace the miracle of the natural world. 10. Help raise the awareness of others. These are all important things, because what we're about to go through and what we are going through is a very important end of a long, long cycle. So at the end of this cycle, sometimes it's always good to recap where we've been. And we have a long history of thousands and thousands of years to recap, but we've done a lot in that period of time. We've evolved a lot. We've had a lot of places where we haven't evolved so much. I mean, we're still caught up in issues, that are very small issues, or they should be, like racism and things like that. Yet we've been around on this planet for such a long, long time, we'd think we'd be over such issues as these. So there are some of these kind of problems that we haven't overcome. But now is the opportunity. Let's look at the opportunities available to be able to step past that. That's what this time is about. That's why, we're closing out a cycle. We're going to begin a new cycle. One thing ends, something begins. So this is a good time to do an accounting. It's sort of like a New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day experience, except it's a much longer period of time. It's a New Year's Eve after 26,000 years. So we got a lot to celebrate, and we need to think about all that we've been through. It's not just this lifetime, but the lifetimes that we've been through and the opportunities, because truly there's a great opportunity out there. Okay, so last but not least, let's do our meditation for today. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Take a deep breath again. And exhale. I want you to activate all of your chakras from the bottom up. Red at the bottom of the spine. Orange above that at the belly button. Yellow just below the rib cage. Green at the heart chakra. Blue at the throat. Violet at the third eye, and indigo at the crown chakra, and white light as it continues on. Honor your connection to the cosmos and to the earth, to all that is, was, and ever shall be. And know at this moment that all you need to do to be prepared for the shift that's taking place is already available to you. Your body understands how to process energy. Your mind understands how to evolve. All that is required is to get out of our own way and simply allow what is natural to occur. So imagine the rain comes down, and as the rain falls upon each and every one, I want you to imagine the doubts and the fears all washing away. The doubts and the fears that keep you from using your energy to the maximum. The doubts and the fears that get in and keep you from believing in who you are and what you're about. Imagine them all washing away. And as they wash away, you become more effective on how you use your energy, how you use your mind. You become lighter and more efficient. And you realize how the doubts and the fears only held you back. Yet at the same time, they were also there to help in the learning process. So thank them for the lessons that they brought you. And move forward now away from them, as it is time to let go of such things. It is time to exercise the muscle of faith and take it to the next level of understanding. And so you see a mountain up ahead and you walk up the mountain. And you get to the top. And you see there's another mountain just a short distance away, on the other side of a creek that passes beneath. And you look down into the ravine, and then you look aside, across to the other side, and you close your eyes, and you take one step, and then the next. So pretty soon you are walking on air from one of the mountains to the next, crossing over the ravine. And at one point you stop and you look down, and you see yourself there, suspended in air, high above the creek, in between these two mountains, crossing from one plateau to the next. And you continue on, feeling confident, feeling strong, feeling filled with faith. And you get to the other side and you smile to yourself and know that this faith exists within you. It's like a muscle, you just have to exercise it. And so holding the idea of faith in your heart, and just contemplating that idea for the day, let's bring our energy and attention back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment, filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment, filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment, happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. There you have it. It's the end of another show. Thanks for being here. I appreciate taking the time to check out First Contact Radio. I'll be back tomorrow with more news and information. That's it. Talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.